Mom, why are you so cruel to Shane?
I told you I never liked her and I never will.
She is my wife of 6 years, and for the past 6 years, you have never been good to her.
So now you are going to disrespect me just to protect your worthless wife? She is nothing but a pain in the ass and a freeloader.
That is not true. You know very well that Shane works hard for the family.
Don't you ever defend that girl in front of me, Lloyd. I'm your mother, and you must obey me at all times. Now, if you have to choose between me and her, who is it?
Mom, please. This is too much already. She is my wife, and you're my mother. You must make peace with each other.
Never. My mother-in-law walked out and shut the door loudly. My husband ran immediately to help me as I was lying on the floor after my mother-in-law pushed me to the ground after a heated argument earlier. The root cause of our disagreement was very petty. After I folded my husband's laundry, I went inside our closet room to place his clothes. But as my mother-in-law saw me doing it, she went hysterical because she was the one who washed the clothes and she doesn't want me to touch my husband's clothes. She even slapped me and disarranged the clothes that I just folded. Aside from that, she kept on calling me names such as useless, stupid, and fake. She kept on telling me about this narrative that I'm only doing these things to make myself good in front of my husband. What is wrong with her? Lloyd is my husband, and it is my responsibility to serve him and this family. Ever since I married my husband, I never had the authority to decide in this house. She has always been the final decision maker. Whenever my husband and I fight, she always got in the way, and every time there is a conflict within our relationship, she always insists that the both of us should part our ways. She has been cruel to me since day one. My husband helped me get up. He hugged me and assured me that this will never happen again. Despite my mother-in-law's verbal and physical abuse, I am still thankful to my husband for being my confidant and protector. He defends me every time he has the chance. However, I don't want him to have a bad relationship with his mother. That's why I always encouraged him to be the bigger person and just understand his mother's dilemmas. That night, as we were having dinner, my mother-in-law acted like nothing happened. She kept on talking nicely to my husband and son, but ignored me as if I was not present. She talked to my husband as if they did not have a major argument earlier. I can say that this family setup is not healthy, not just for me, but also for my husband and son. Later that night, we were about to sleep. My husband told me about his 3-day business trip in the States. As much as he wanted both my son and me to come with him, it was impossible. He checked up on me if I'm going to be okay being alone with his mom for the next 3 days. I told him that I will keep my head strong and try my best not to get into another fight with her. He promised me that he will be back soon, and he also assured me that he will talk to his mother before he goes. Deep inside, I'm anxious for the next 3 days. I cannot guarantee that my mother-in-law and I can have a peaceful and harmonious 3 days because she always finds something to pick on me. In short, there is no day that she won't scold, insult, and abuse me. But I wanted to be strong for my family and myself. As long as I can, I will understand her and humble myself. I chose to be the better one. The next day, I woke up early to prepare for my husband's food for his trip. As I came down to the kitchen, I saw my mother in law already preparing my husband's meal. I was about to get my utensils because I wanted to prepare food for my son as well. But she stopped me by grabbing my arm. She was holding me so tightly that I could feel my arms bruising. She looked at me with blazing eyes and warned me, "Don't you dare lay your hands on the food that I prepared. I'm going to cook food for my family." "Your family?" Bold of you to assume that this is your family. This is my family. You are nothing but an outsider. I'm married to your son, and I'm the mother of your grandson. This makes me a member of this family." "So you are going to cook my son and grandson's food?" "You're a show-off. Get back to where you come from and never come back. I'm the only one who has the right to serve my family. My son and grandson are mine. Get out of here, loser." "You don't have to dictate me with everything that I..." She slapped me in the face. "I am your mother-in-law. You should talk to me with respect." Respect? Bold of her to utter that word. She can't even give that word to me. It's too easy and natural for her to harass, insult, and abuse me. I really want to fight a case against her, but I'm thinking about my husband and son. I don't want them to be put in a position where they have to see us fight over a thing that can be resolved with the word respect. I cannot take this anymore. This is complete nonsense. Talking to my mother-in-law is like talking to a toddler. Every word she says is so hard to comprehend and understand. It doesn't make sense. She's so possessive of my husband and son. I don't have the freedom to decide for my family because she is here. She wanted to be relevant and involved all the time. I left the kitchen and went back to our room. I don't have enough energy to fight her nonsense battles. Later that day, my husband finally boarded the plane. He was finally out for his 3-day business trip, and I knew this was also the start of my hardship. The next morning, my mother-in-law came knocking on my bedroom door, and the moment I opened it, she threw a bundle of cash in my face. She told me to be useful and instructed me to pay the house insurance. I had no choice but to follow her orders, so I did. After I dropped my son off at his school, I called my office assistant and told her that I will be late because I will be paying our house insurance. And as I was on my way to the insurance company, I saw someone familiar on the streets, a girl being mistreated. The old woman was grabbing her hair, and the girl was trying to pull away, but the old woman slapped her. I pulled up my car and went out to help the girl, but as soon as I came nearer, I finally saw the girl's face. It was Jenny, my elementary best friend. "I will show you. I give you enough time to pay your rent. 5 months is too long. Pay it now or I will kick you out." "Please, I'm struggling financially. I will pay for it once I can find a part-time job. Please give me another month, I promise you." "I have given you enough time. I am done with you." She grabbed Jenny's hair and pushed her down to the floor. I could only imagine how Jenny was able to reach the sidewalk because the apartment was a little far from this spot. I bet the old lady dragged her here. I approached her and the old woman stopped beating her. Jenny recognized me and she turned wide as if she saw her escape. She ran towards me and hugged me so much. She whispered to me, "Please, help me." I understood her body language, so I immediately confronted the old lady. I asked her what was going on. I can feel Jenny's body shaking, and her hands are trembling as she holds my arm to maintain her balance. The old lady explained what the commotion was all about. She told me that Jenny's debt was already 5 months due. The old lady was very eager to have the money already, but Jenny kept on telling her that her salary got delayed for almost 5 months now. Jenny was persistent in asking for consideration about her rent because the delay was out of her control, but the old lady was very persistent in getting the money. Jenny has always been consistent in paying the bills. That's why she was very certain that she can cover up the entire 5 months of bills. On top of that, Jenny insisted on paying part of the rent just to cover the large rent. Nonetheless, the old woman wanted Jenny out of her apartment right away. She harassed her and threw out all of her belongings. Jenny begged mercifully, but she kept on beating her. This was the scene that I saw earlier. I can hear Jenny's heavy sobs as she was hiding behind my back. My heart breaks for her. I can still remember how she has been so kind and protective of me during my elementary years when I was always bullied. She was the one who defended me. She was the only one that stood up for me during those times. That is why I wanted to help her and stood up for her. I talked to the old woman and told her that I will pay her bills. Good thing I have cash with me, the money that I'm supposed to pay for her house's insurance. I gave it to the old woman, hence her anger died and allowed Jenny to return to her unit. Jenny was so happy and thankful for what I did. I couldn't count how many times she thanked me and cried every time she uttered the words "thank you." I was so happy that I was able to give back the kindness she has showed me in the past. After that incident, I went back to her car and drove straight to our office. My heart was filled with joy as I recalled my encounter with my old classmate and that I was able to help her. Afterwards, I became preoccupied with work. I was so busy entertaining clients and meeting deadlines, I even went home late that day. That's why, when I was driving my car back home, I realized my big mistake. I forgot to pay for the house insurance. I was supposed to go to the bank and withdraw some money because I gave the cash to Jenny's landlady. I parked along the street and contemplated my carelessness. Why did I forget to pay for it? I could feel my hands tremble as I could already foresee my mother-in-law's anger. But I have no choice but to go home. As soon as I came home, my mother-in-law's mad facial expression was the first thing I noticed. She's so angry that she threw the book that she was reading at me. Good thing I was able to dodge it. "You stupid girl! You only had one job, and that is to pay for your house insurance. What did you do to the money? You used it for yourself? How dare you? You're a piece of shit. Now come here and I'll teach you a lesson." Please, let me just explain. She grabbed my hand and hair by force. It hurt as she was pulling it hard. She pinned me to the wall and grabbed my phone as well as my wallet and threw it away. "The insurance company contacted me and they said that they didn't receive the money. If someone has to be homeless, it should be you. Get out of here." I became preoccupied with work, and I wasn't able to pay for the insurance. It is my fault. I take full responsibility. "Oh no, It's too late. You will be thrown away from this house, and don't you ever dare to come back." She dragged me to her car and pushed me in. She drove it very fast and far from our house. I insisted on going, but she threatened me. She pulled up in the city's downtown and dropped me like I was some kind of garbage. She left me there with nothing. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening. The downtown streets were so empty and the ambience felt so unsafe. As soon as she drove away, I started to panic. I have no phone or money. How am I supposed to contact my husband? What will happen to my son? I started to cry and find some help, but there was nothing. Until I remembered Jenny. Her apartment is not far from here, so I decided to walk to her unit and ask for help. I'm sure that she will help me, just the way I helped her earlier. The walk took me 30 minutes, but I was so thankful because I was able to reach her house safe and sound. I instantly went to her unit and knocked on the door. She was so shocked when she saw me in tears and filled with sweat. She asked me what was wrong, and I told her about my mother-in-law's cruelty. All of it. She let me in and offered me new clothes and even food to eat. Also, she lent me her phone so that I could contact my husband. But I didn't contact my husband. Instead, I contacted the owner of the house insurance, who happens to be my godfather. I tried to call him many times until finally he answered. As soon as he recognized that it was me, the concern in his tone became evident. I told him that I was not able to pay for the house insurance today, and he just laughed at me, saying that there is nothing to worry about because the company always has this 5 days of deadline extension to all their clients. Aside from that, I also told him about my mother-in-law's abuses and mistreatment of me. And as my godfather and the best friend of my father, he promised that he will help me. He orchestrated a plan that will help me take revenge against my mother-in-law. My godfather took immediate action. He used his connections and influence to help me. The next day, my mother-in-law was out on a date with her friends. I knew this because she always does this every Friday. It was a perfect time for us. That's why my godfather deployed some of his logistics staff to secure the house and assist in apprehending my mother-in-law. The logistics staff circled the house. My godfather and I wanted my mother-in-law to feel intimidated, as if they were going to claim the house. But my godfather has another plan. He also contacted police officers that would arrest Rita for all her abuses towards me. I informed my husband about everything, and he decided to teach her mother a lesson. My godfather and I went to our house to fetch my son and wait for my mother-in-law to come home. As my mother-in-law arrived home, she was confronted by a locked house and a heavy police presence. I saw how overwhelmed she was with shock and regret. She came near one of the logistics staff and started shouting at him, "Who the hell are you? And why are you here in my house? And what is this nonsense? Why are there police officers here?"
"Ma'am, I'm here to claim the house. You have failed to pay for the insurance on yesterday's due."
"Shane, that stupid and worthless girl, this is all her fault. I want to kill her. She brings nothing but misfortune and annoyance." I saw her dialing my number as we were hiding behind the front door. And when my phone rang, she heard it. She looked around to look for the sound, so I went out. She was so shocked when she saw me coming out of the house. The moment she saw me and my godfather, she realized the consequences of her trashy attitude and rash treatment towards me. I can see the confusion in her eyes. What is the meaning of this? It means you are already kicked out of this house. She smirked and even chuckled. Oh, you're brave now because what? You have all these people? I handed the police officer all the evidence of her mistreatment and abuse, and when she realized what I did, she came near me begging for everything that she had done. The officer started to approach her. That's why she panicked. Please, Shane, forgive me. I don't want to be in jail. I am so sorry. I will not do it again. I am sorry, but you have to learn your lesson. After that, my mother in law was ultimately arrested, facing the repercussions of her actions.